This is the Rock and Roll and Coffee Show. I am Joe Sibilia. Thank you for tuning in. Please make sure to subscribe to the show wherever you may be listening. If you are watching on YouTube, hit subscribe and ring the bell so you can be notified anytime I post a new video. Now, tonight's guest. Tonight's guest is Pete Evick. Pete is an award-winning musician, producer, songwriter. He is an author. His book called The Moments That Make Us is available on Amazon. You can get that now or after the show, actually. Go get it after the show. And he has been playing guitar for Bret Michaels for the last 20 years. He now has some singles out that he has recently released. An original called My Best Days, which is a great song, kind of got an old Bon Jovi classic style sound to it. And he has a cover of 99 Red Balloons. I'm going to talk to Pete about all of this and more coming up.
It's the rock and roll and coffee show. Yeah, with Joe.
So Pete, you are in a hotel room and you're traveling right now.
I am.
And you're in where?
I believe Natchez, Mississippi. We, as the Bret Michaels Band, are performing at the Natchez Bluff Festival tomorrow. And so we got in today. We have 8 a.m. load in, 11 o'clock sound check. So we had to get in tonight.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I know it's, you're probably an hour different from me right now.
I think so. I am 9:30 right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So an hour difference.
I appreciate you having me. I'm grateful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I was looking forward to it. I know we tried to line it up previously, but it didn't work out for our schedules. But I'm glad we finally got it going here.
Yes,
and you have 2 new singles out.
Right.
Right.
I didn't plan on having any. It's weird. It wasn't part of my plan. I didn't have anything. It just wasn't part of the plan, and then all of a sudden there was 2 songs. It came kind of organically and naturally, which was cool because once you're in the music business, nothing becomes organic or natural. Everything's planned out and plotted.
Right.
And so it was neat that they both unfolded in the way they did without some master plan.
Yeah. Which one came first? Your cover?
Well, I wrote My Best Days before the cover, but I finished 99 Red Balloons and released it before My Best Days.
Mm-hmm. And so did you choose to release that, I'm guessing, due to what's going on in the world right now?
Yeah. So in actuality, I wrote My Best Days at the very beginning of the COVID situation. But I recorded it several times. I demoed it and I did a bunch of stuff, and I never really got it exactly what I was chasing at first with it. So I kind of put it away for a while and wasn't thinking much about it. And then the Ukraine situation came and just twisted me all up. And, the truth of the matter is, when I was a young kid in 1983 and 84, I was petrified and terrified of the threat of nuclear annihilation, Russia was the big bad guy, and in a lot of my life that was gone. We kind of put that all behind us, and the Middle East was the threat, and you don't even think much about Russia being a threat or anything anymore. And then all of a sudden I woke up and it was again. I mean, not to us, to the Ukraine, but to the world. And there was the threat of nuclear annihilation again. And just seeing the word nuclear and the word Russia together on news crawls just blew my mind. And when I was a kid, I'd used the song 99 Red Balloons kind of as therapy. I was so afraid and terrified of the nuclear threat that song was about the nuclear threat and the protest of it. And I used it. I was a metalhead. I was into, at that point in my life, it was Quiet Riot, Van Halen, and Twisted Sister and Kiss and Ozzy Osbourne. And I didn't want to hear about anything else. That was my life. But for some reason, this song rang through and found me. And I needed that song, and it helped me. And then when the Ukraine war thing started, I got so upset, so depressed, and I just couldn't believe it was going on. I couldn't believe it. And everyone got tired of hearing me talk about it. Everyone I know, Bret wouldn't even talk to me on the phone. And me and Bret talk like we're high school buddies all day long, all the time. And he was just like, I can't talk to you right now. My business partner, when I'd walk in the building, he would find a reason to leave. You know,
Oh no.
everybody was tired of it. And so I retreated into my recording studio and found that song like I did when I was 13. And that song was my only friend there for a couple of weeks. And I was just recording it and playing it around with it for no reason. I was just in there messing with it. And somewhere throughout the couple weeks of messing with it, it started to sound really cool, you know, and I was just doing it just for myself. There was no intention. There was nothing, never going to be a single, let alone make a little video for it or anything like that. It was just me being alone with my thoughts and that song. And I when I was finished it, I let a few people listen to it that are, when you're a professional singer or songwriter, you always have a handful of people that you go to that will be brutally honest with you, because as you become more popular and you become more successful, you get a lot of yes men. You get a lot of people that will just tell you everything you do is great. And so you hold on to those few that are just brutally honest with you, and they're worth their weight in gold to you. And I passed it along to a couple of my friends that are in that club of would rather tell me I suck than I'm good. And and they came back to me unanimously how cool they thought the song was. And so I thought, well, let me let everyone hear it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So was it always, because it's pretty in style of the original, just more punked up, I'd say.
Right. So there's multiple parts to the song. It does stay relatively close in tempo. It's in the same key, and the arrangement of the song is almost identical. I took a few bars of the song out just because it was awfully lengthy. And back in the 80s, you could have these longer instrumental parts that aren't very acceptable these days. Today, there's a lot of trim the fat, you know what I mean? So there's about 4 bars of the instrumental section missing throughout the song. But as I originally recorded the song, I recorded the entire thing with the lower register vocal that you hear at the beginning and the end of the song. And when I played it back, it didn't have any energy. Like I had the punk guitar that you're talking about, but it didn't have any energy. So I thought, well, let me go and put the higher vocal more in the register C, sings it in. And I went back and I sang that, and it was a couple, just 2 or 3 notes in that are just outside of my comfort range. And so when I played the high vocal back, I couldn't listen to it. It was like amateur hour, the worst thing I thought I'd ever heard. And I, you know, I'm a producer. I love producing records more than almost anything. It's probably my biggest passion is producing records. And I know I'm technically trained musically. I know how to sing. I know how to play my instruments. I'm not winging it. So the vocal was fine. Pitch wise, everything was fine. I just couldn't stand it. Right.
Okay.
But I couldn't stand the low vocal either. So I was like, what do I do? What do I do? And I just decided to put both vocals on at the same time and blend them together. And all of a sudden I felt like it was magic. I felt like it worked. So so that saved the vocal part. The punk guitar thing was very Green Day and Mighty Boss Tones influenced. Right. And then, but then I thought, how predictable of me as a 80s guitar player, so to speak, to have done all the synth lead parts as a lead guitar. So I said, what can I do to remain true to the feel of the song, but not just play them on guitar like anybody like me would normally do? I have a buddy that plays sax, and I thought, let me just see how cool that would sound. So we came and played the sax part to it. And I think that's an integral part of the sound of my version of the song is the sax part. So then when the whole thing was done, very much like you said, there was this more power pop punkish version of a song. And then all of a sudden there was no rock element to it that really represented who I am and what I'm about. So instead of using a synthesizer at the beginning, I reached into my bag of Van Halen tricks, and I did the if you listen to it or you're a Van Halen fan, he has a song called Cathedral that uses this technique where you swell the volume and to kind of make it sound like a violin other than a guitar. And I'd never really done that trick on a record. I do it live all the time. I've done it my whole life. And so I thought that's how I did the intro, with a nod to Van Halen, who's my favorite band of all time. And that gave me a little bit of, even though I'm saying I was copying Van Halen, that's more true to who I am and my style. So it gave a little bit of me to my version of the song.
Yeah, yeah. Doesn't Eddie do that in Somebody Get Me a Doctor?
He does. Yeah. In fact, a couple of the other interviews I've done, I mentioned Somebody Get Me a Doctor, and I didn't mention it right then, and then you did. That's
yeah. That was always one of my favorite Van Halen songs.
Yeah, and he does it when he does it in that, he's quick with it because he's playing the riff, and then he swells it in really quick.
Yeah,
very much
badass. Well, that's awesome.
You clearly know your Van Halen then.
I do. I think we're probably about the same age. I don't know how old you are, but I'm guessing we're right
49,
around
49.
I'm 49 too, born in 72. Yeah.
Right,
so
we did.
Yeah.
Best year ever.
Yeah, no, I listened to all that stuff growing up. Actually, Van Halen was my first concert I ever went to, but it was not with Dave. It was the 5150 tour.
Yeah, 5150 was the third concert I'd ever seen in my life. I never got to see them with Roth, but I did later in life. But I'd seen my very first concert ever was Twisted Sister, and Dokken was the opening act, and then so then I saw Ozzy Osbourne on the Ultimate Sin tour with Metallica opening up, and with Cliff Burton still alive. That was, oh
man,
what a great! And I'd never heard of Metallica, and I was just going to see Ozzy, and I'll never forget the first time in my life I had the physical experience of music. You felt it on your face when Metallica came out, and it was so powerful. And
they were young, raw.
Yeah. And then my third concert was David Lee Roth, Eat 'Em and Smile tour. He hit the road prior to Van Halen. So my fourth concert ever was the 5150 tour on my birthday. Actually, I still had the ticket stub.
Yeah, David Lee Roth was my second. So Van Halen was my first. David Lee Roth was my second. Cinderella opened for Dave.
Oh, so that was the Eat 'Em and Smile tour.
Yeah.
Maybe I got that backwards then.
Yeah.
Maybe I saw Van Halen first and Roth second. But it was in the similar, because they both released those records and around the same time and running. And Cinderella I saw Cinderella as the opening act for Roth, and then the next year on the Skyscraper tour, Poison was the opening act.
Boy, okay, because I saw that tour, but it was Faster Pussycat opening.
Right. Well, you probably saw it later because Every Rose had broke and they left the tour to headline themselves. So that's probably, then it probably became, yeah. That's funny. We saw a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah, I did see Poison. First time I saw Poison was Look What the Cat Dragged In, them opening for Rat.
I saw it. It was amazing, I thought.
Dancing Undercover tour.
Yeah. And that, if I remember correctly, that maybe he always did it. I saw Rat a handful of times, but Blotzer would go like this and the beer would drop during his drum solo or whatever.
Yeah, it sounds familiar. Yeah.
Right.
But anyway, back to you, because that's what we're here for, is to talk about your new.
We start talking about Van Halen, and that's all that happens.
We'll, after the cameras are off, maybe we'll talk more. All right, so now this song, 99 Red Balloons, is actually charted in the UK, correct?
Yeah, very organically too. Yeah. And it's funny because you spend your life chasing things, and then when you're not chasing them, interesting things happen. Right. A buddy of mine who's actually the publicist for my book that I released 5 years ago, and a good buddy of mine in the entertainment industry, knows some people that do some radio and some TV over in the UK, and he just sent it to him. He wasn't working it. He wasn't, there was nothing like that. He just said, my buddy did this, check this out. And the radio station played it. One of the DJs played it. And then the guy that does this chart, it's called the Heritage Chart, who also, he has a TV show for the chart. He does a radio and TV show, liked it, and put it, you have to vote on this chart. And he put it in for people to vote. And I got in the top 40 right off the bat, but you don't make it to the TV show part till you're in the top 30. And it over the course of 5 or 6 weeks, it's climbed up to number 17. And it's
Nice.
really cool because I often talk about looking at that chart, and there's bands that I haven't heard of, and I hate to say it, thought about for a long time that are still making relevant new music. But we in the United States often think that that we're the whole world.
Right.
And that everything is only here. But Men Without Hats is on that chart. UB40, the Scorpions, Mickey Dolenz from the Monkees, Pink Floyd, all with new
Wow.
music. You know what I mean? It's pretty cool. It's been pretty cool to watch. You know, I was a huge Scorpions fan, and so it's been cool to watch. They were at the top of the chart when I entered, and they're sliding down, and I think I'm above them now, and that's a pretty
Nice.
neat.
Passing them. You waved to them on the way by?
Yeah, of course.
Well, that's awesome. You're going to have to go over there and do a solo tour.
I would go right now. I wanted to go to the Ukraine. Part of all of this with me doing that song and stuff was I tried really hard to when I first heard that families and kids and people were hiding in the subways to protect themselves. I tried for days, maybe weeks, to figure out how to get over there. In my brain, I was just going to land in Poland and walk across the border and with my guitar and go down there and sing for those guys. You know, when I do my like local acoustic gigs and stuff like that, I play for 3 and 4 hours straight. And I was in my brain, I'm not a soldier. I'm not a fighter. How can I help? And I just thought, because I've been to Iraq, me and Bret in our band have gone to Iraq in the middle of that war years and years ago. We went out on the frontline bases. We were playing while the bombs were dropping at one point, and we had to be rushed into these.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, and so I'm into support in military conflict, and like, you know, everybody knows Bret has this private plane, and I was calling his pilots. I was like, how can you get me there? What can we do? Just get me there. I'm going to go, and I'm going to go to the subway, and I'll live with those people, and I'll just sing and try to make their day better. And
just like that.
Yeah, it was in my brain, and it's not that easy.
Right.
I forget the question you asked that led me down that path. I'm sorry, buddy.
No, it's all right, man. It's all right. But so when all this stuff started happening over there, and then we started seeing the nuclear threats and all that kind of stuff, I mean, how did that make you feel, seeing that, you know, when you were a kid, that, I mean, it really affected you? Did it?
Yeah. And you know, what's interesting is I'm finding out, for most of my life, I felt like I was completely the freak. I had to go to therapy as a kid in elementary school because of my fear of the nuclear war. And I'm finding out, I've never talked a lot. I talk about it in my book, but as I'm talking to
I got your book right here, by the way. That's how I know
that. Awesome, buddy. As I'm talking to people, I find out that I wasn't alone in those fears. I knew everyone was nervous about it, and it was common, but I was petrified and paralyzed. And it turns out that there's several other people that felt that as much as me. But when it all, so I'll go deeper with you than I've gone on any of these other interviews, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go right in.
Other than the nuclear fear, I am a doomsdayer. Once I got past the nuclear thing, not past it, but the nuclear thing grew into the fear of the Nostradamus end of the world prophecies, all of that stuff. I was consumed by my entire life, and the Mayan prophecy of 2012, you know, all that. And so born in 72, just like you, up to 2012, what would that have been? 40 years? That'd been 40 years, right? I'm so bad with it.
Yeah,
so
because it'll be 50 this year.
So 40 years of my life, I spent always afraid the bombs were dropping, or the comet was coming, or the end. Just petrified of it my entire life. Really? And then when the world didn't end in 2012, something changed, and I went, oh, this is all, I've wasted my whole life. It was all crazy. It's all wrong. And for 10 years, I've been relatively at peace. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and I wake up every day happy that I'm kind of at peace. So then I wake up and I see the news and I went, fuck, man, here we go again. And it literally, I became 13 years old again. And it terrified me, because I don't want to get political, and I know we're supposed to talk about rock and roll, but this is what my thing about it is I understand it's the Ukraine and Russia, but it's the whole world that's in this. We know this, right? I mean, right?
Definitely.
But I don't think that Putin is going to nuke the Ukraine, because he wants that land. That's what this whole thing's about. He wants that land. So why would he destroy that, right? So when he's threatening to use nukes, my fear is that, you have Putin, and you have China, and you have whoever in the Middle East, and you have the guy in North Korea, right? They hate us. They hate us. There's no way around it. They want us to die. And I have a feeling that Putin's legacy is that he's going to fire something at us. And I think he thinks or knows that it won't hit us. I think he thinks we'll deter it or we'll blow it up. I think he'd be crazy to think he would actually land the bomb in the United States, but I think he's going to fire it. And I think that his legacy is going to be, well, it might not have hit him, but I was the badass that had the balls to finally do it.
Right.
But once he does that,
I think he's going to.
I think it's in his brain or somebody. But the fear of that is the second that he does that, that guy from North Korea is going to go nuts. That's what I'm a conspiracy theorist. I go deep, but that's what I think. I think that he's doing it for legacy and to show the pride of Mother Russia, and he's going to do something stupid like that. And once he does that, the modern age of world dominating nutballs are just going to have a party.
Yeah. Well, let's hope you're wrong.
Let's hope. Absolutely. So that's where this all comes from, and that's what I released the song for.
Yeah. Okay. And then you also, let's talk about your original song,
which
My
is
Best
a
Days.
more positive thing.
Much more. Yes.
Yes.
Very good song, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So My Best Days, COVID was hitting strong. And everybody was talking, everything in the world was about, it just seemed like everyone thought that life wasn't ever going to get better again. It just, everyone was like, this is the new normal. When I get that, I understood, but everyone was always like, oh, the 80s, I wish it was 1988. I wish it was 94. Whatever. Everyone had every song in the world was about back in the day. Everything was about remember when. And I've written those songs too. I get nostalgia. Sure. I'm all about nostalgia. But somewhere in me, I just went to myself, I'm not even 50 yet. And if truly the best days have already happened, then let me just check out now, man. Like if there's nothing else coming. And I thought, is there anything I can say to anyone that might uplift them in such a dark time? And I don't have dreams of writing We Are the World. I mean, I do. I would love to write the song that I would love to. I guess that was Bill and Ted's story, right? They were going to write the song that united the whole world or whatever. But I have dreams of that. I think anyone as a songwriter dreams that they write the song that changes the world. But I don't have any delusions of grandeur. But if I could have written one song that made one person's life a little bit better, and I hope that did that with My Best Days to some people. I hope somebody heard it and went, oh, there's a brighter side. And I feel like I've had a lot of positive feedback about the message of the song. But on the flip side of that, because I am nostalgic, even though the song was kind of anti-nostalgic, the nostalgia about it was that I produced it with every intention of making it sound like it came off the John Bon Jovi New Jersey record.
On purpose.
Yes. I did everything I could because I write a lot like Bon Jovi anyway. I've always been compared to him with my original music. Obviously not enough because I'm not John Bon Jovi, but I'm very influenced by, and I love it. And so as I was writing the song, I went, oh, here we go again. This sounds just like a Bon Jovi song. And so I put a couple songs from the New Jersey record up in my Pro Tools rig as reference to go back and forth while I was working on the song over and over again. And I went as far as to the bass player Bon Jovi, Hugh McDonald's a good buddy of mine. And I went as far as to call him and say, I'm not asking you to play on this song, but I want to send you this song. And I want you to tell me, if John was to give you this song, what would you play on it?
Interesting.
So he wrote the concept for the bass line, because some of those Bon Jovi bass lines are the iconic parts of the song. Living
Sure.
on a Prayer is the bass line.
Sure.
You know, Keep the Faith, all that stuff. So he you know, first thing he did, he laughed. He goes, well, it certainly is a Bon Jovi song. And then he gave me the notes on what to do for the bass, and I did that to the bass. And then the next thing I did, just to make sure I was on mark, was I sent it to Eddie Trunk.
Oh, wow.
And Eddie's a really, really good friend of mine. And I said, Eddie, I don't want nothing from you. I'm not asking you to play this on the show. I just want to hear what the first thing you think of when you hear this song. And he wrote back, he goes, it's a Bon Jovi song. He goes, did you write this for Bret? Is this what you're doing? Or is this because it's a Bon Jovi song? And I said, that's all I wanted to hear. That was what my goal was. And there it is. And I think that the reaction to it has been that it's a positive experience for everyone that's listening to it.
Yeah. Well, you definitely captured that Bon Jovi feel, and a very positive feel. And, you know, if I didn't know it was you, if I just heard the song, I would, if someone said, who is this? I would probably say it. I think might be Bon Jovi.
There you go.
Because even your voice is very similar.
Right. Well, I was so influenced by John that when I was learning to sing, I sought out his vocal coaches. I went to his vocal coaches and paid enormous amount of money to be around anybody that influenced him, so that I could try to figure. I love his voice. You know, he's not my favorite singer. Sammy Hagar is my favorite singer of all time. But when I was learning to sing, that didn't seem possible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you know, and John didn't seem possible either to me, but it seemed closer something. And I could write like John, or I felt like I could. You know, I wasn't writing "I Can't Drive 55" or you know, Dreams or anything like
right.
that.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you that you see the influence in it.
Yes,
That's
definitely.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So did you record that all in your studio? And you produced it and everything? You did everything on it?
My drummer, my bass player, my guitar player, and my band Evick played their parts on it, but I wrote and played all the vocals, the guitars. My guitar player Matt plays the acoustic guitar and the lead outro at the end, and sing harmonies. But the lead vocals, the lead guitar, and then I wrote it and I engineered and produced the entire song. Yeah, and mixed it.
And you mixed it.
Yeah,
because it sounds, the sound quality is excellent too. So
that means everything. You're my new best friend today. Thank you.
And another thing I noticed in the song, which is, I don't know if you call it layers, but your guitars that you're doing over the choruses underneath.
Yeah.
I love all that kind of stuff. I love songs that do that.
Yeah. That's always been something I've always done. It's layering. I don't know where I picked it up, or, you know, because it's funny that you say that, because, you know, Bon Jovi doesn't do a lot of that stuff in their songs, and the Van Halen stuff doesn't. He layers a lot of guitars, but not the way I do.
Right.
And that layer thing, I don't have a huge following, but I've sold a lot of Evick records, and the fans, that's our sound. That there's the rhythm guitar part, and there's always not necessarily a lead guitar, but there's a layer of higher pitched melody stuff going on under the choruses, and it's part of our signature sound. And again, the fact that you pick up on that, man, that's unbelievable to me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You do it in one of Bret's songs that I was listening to, Ride Against the Wind, I think.
Ride Against the Wind, right?
You wrote that with him, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes,
you
sir.
do it in there too.
Yeah, very much. That song, out of all the songs I've written with Bret, that song is the closest thing to a pure Evick song. One of my own band songs. That's probably my second favorite that we've ever done together. I think that's a great song. It became the theme song to his Life as I Know It TV show. And then when we shot the video for it, the video was #1 on VH1's countdown for, I think, 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I like that song a lot. And interesting thing, can I tell you something else about that song?
Sure can.
So Poison has a song called Life Loves a Tragedy. It's the last song on the
Flesh and Blood, right?
Blood record. And I have the lyrics to it tattooed on my arm.
Did you do that before you knew Bret or after?
after, but I've known
Okay.
Bret a long, long time.
Yeah.
But it's one of my favorite songs of all time. I don't know that I mentioned, I know I mentioned that Hagar is my favorite singer and I love Bon Jovi. Poison was an enormous influence on me, huge. I have videotapes of me playing Poison songs on all 4 of my high school talent shows. And Bret is, you know, he's my best friend, but he's the best front man in the business.
Mm.
You know, when we were all growing up, we thought David Lee Roth was going to be the guy that was going to go down in history as our genre. And then Dave became the clown that he is, and it didn't work out. And Bret is, you know, Bret's 60 years old and still looks like he did when he was 25. He sounds like he did when he was 25. And he comes onto that stage and is a freight train still, right?
Yeah.
So Bret's my favorite frontman. But that song "Life Was a Tragedy," at the end of it, there's a real high part. And so our song, the song "Riding Against the Wind" is in the same key as "Life Was a Tragedy." And at the end of "Life Was a Tragedy," there's this high part, real high, really push the limits for Bret's range, where it's going good times, bad times, and whatever. And I love it. It gives me chills when I hear it. And I've always told him that. And so we were recording "Riding Against the Wind," and it was done. He was listening to it in his headphones, and we were just listening to it back. And he goes, you know, because I produce and record all of that stuff with him too. And he goes, just hit record for a second. And we're at the end of the song of "Riding Against the Wind," and he starts going, "Life keeps on rolling, rolling. You're still riding again." And it's in that same. It's basically a mock of what he does in "Life Was a Tragedy." And he hadn't done anything or sang in that range in probably 20 years till we did that, maybe 15 years. And when it was done, he just wung it for me. And I turned around and I looked at him and he was smiling, and he goes, "I did that for you. I did that for you." And it was a very neat moment making that song.
Yeah. So did Bret knew how much of a fan of Poison you were when you guys met?
Very much. Very much. Yeah. Yeah. The first 2 years of Bret being a solo artist, we were his opening act up and down the East Coast.
Evick?
Yeah, Evick was his opening act. So we got to know each other via that. In fact, my very first picture with Bret ever is at the House of Blues in Myrtle Beach.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Nice. And then 2 years ago or 3 years ago, we did something there together. And we recreated that picture. We took a picture in the same exact spot.
Fun. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You guys need to come back to Myrtle Beach. We don't get a lot of shows around here.
We do. Yeah, it's a weird thing because it's that those beach markets are transient. So it's hard to get anyone to sell tickets to, because you don't know who's going to be in town. Right. Yeah. But yeah, I love that House of Blues there. I played every House of Blues in the country, and the one in Myrtle Beach is super cool. And yeah, but we haven't been down there in a long, long time.
Let's talk a little bit about your book. Actually, you wrote this a while ago.
5 years ago. I think.
I'm up to the day after, or something like that. The chapter's called.
Which is about 99 red balloons. I talk about 99.
I haven't read it yet. I just got to the chapter and I had to stop.
That is the chapter that describes my childhood and my fear of nuclear war. That's funny that you're right there.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. So your book, I mean, you're a musician, done a lot in music, but you didn't really write the book about music. You wrote it more about you, I guess, right? And what you've experienced.
Yeah. So it's funny because most people thought that, just like anytime a musician writes a book, most people think you're getting our version of the dirt.
Right.
You know, and but what had happened was I had gotten divorced. I have 2 children. I had gotten divorced, and life on the road and being a musician is hard to be a parent anyway. Right. And I love my kids absolutely more than anything in the entire world. I didn't, looking back now, I understand that it was the right thing to do, but I fought to keep the marriage alive. Right. And it wasn't whether I loved my wife or didn't love my wife. The relationship was gone. There was no doubt about that. But I didn't believe in divorce. I just didn't believe in it, because all that mattered was my kids. And I live in the Washington, D.C. area, which is one of the top 3 most expensive areas to live in the entire country. And I'm a musician. I'm not a superstar. I'm a musician. And my ex-wife was a bartender. it was hard enough to just live in that area, and then to divide our household. I was crazy about it. And I started just talking to people, and I was just worried about my kids. And everyone kept going, kids are resilient. That's what people say to parents getting divorced. It's like the cliche, right?
Yeah.
And I started just taking note of, I'm not from a divorced family. My parents both had divorces before me, but we lived as a family unit up until both my parents died. They were married, and I was a happy family. But I took note of everyone I know who went through a divorce. And maybe as a kid, you put that behind you, or you hide it, or you act tough or strong for your parents. But I don't know an adult my age that's still not wounded or affected by their divorced parents.
Mm-hmm.
There's baggage that is still being carried by so many people. So I started writing the first chapter of the book as an open letter to myself. And then all of a sudden I thought, as if just like all my music and stuff, I'm always wanting to maybe inspire or help somebody or what. Yeah, I'm always trying to be a positive light in one or a million people's life. So I thought maybe I could write something that would help people feeling what I'm feeling. And so I started out writing a book that was called Kids Are Resilient, but What About the Adults We Become? That was this long title that I
That's
had.
long. Yeah.
Right. And I found a publisher that was really into I sent her the first couple chapters I'd written, and she was really into the book. But as I started writing, she wrote me back and she said, this is not about divorce. The first 2 chapters may have started out about that, but this isn't about divorce at all. This is more inspiring anybody to just search for who they are. And it's not about, and so I pivoted to that, and I understood that. And then so it became The Moments That Make Us. And the focus of the book became searching for, as you've read, you can see every chapter is about, a particular moment that stopped me on a dime. So if you haven't seen that, that's the pattern in the book. It's not about the evolution of life. It's about those moments in our life that literally we hit a brick wall and go the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it happens to everybody all the time, but I don't think a lot of people ever go back and soul search themselves for those moments that create the past that they're on. And so as I was writing the book, I thought that maybe it would help people go back. So let me take it a little deeper.
Sure.
In my world, I found that at some point, all of us as humans feel alone. There's at some point in every one of our lives where we go, I'm a freak. No one else in the world thinks or feels anything like me. I feel like most of us go through that maybe a couple times in their life. And so I started thinking to myself, if I tell these stories, as stupid as they are, like me pissing my pants in 2nd grade, or my fear of the dentist that you'll see or you'll get to, I started thinking, if anyone reads this, maybe they'll just realize that we aren't alone. And that's been my goal in life for quite a long time, is just, that feeling you go to a concert and the guy or the girl next to you, in everyday life, you may fucking hate them. Like, you may find that you can't stand what car they drive. You might be on the other side of the political fence. For whatever reason, they may be opposite, but for 90 minutes, you guys are on the same page.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's been very apparent to me my entire life. And so with the book, with the songs, everything, I'm constantly just trying to let us all know that, yes, we're all freaks, but we're not alone. We're together, that we're all freaks, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And so that's what the book was about. And that's what my music's mostly about. That's my mission.
Was it hard to write the book, being open about your past and things that happened and that kind of thing?
I don't know.
Like were you scared to put that out there at all?
You know what? It's funny. I'd never been asked that question, but I wasn't. because in my brain, I was writing a book, and I don't really write books. And even though my name was on it, it never felt real to me. Like when I got the first pressing of the book and I was holding it in my hand, it was probably that same feeling a lot of people get when they have their first CD or something like that. But I've been in the music business my whole life. So I started playing guitar at 5 and performing in 4th grade. So there's been a lot of accomplishments, but there's never been a lot of wonderment, so to speak. So anyway, my point of that is I kind of thought in the book, anyone that reads books isn't really going to know who I am, care who I am. They're never going to see my face. They're just reading a bunch of stories to a faceless guy they don't know. If someone would have asked me to tell the stories like this, I don't know that I could have done it.
Right.
But to me, that book was something that had nothing to do with the music business. It was so far out of my world that here it is, and I'm going to put it over there, and no one's really ever going to know it's me.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, I'm enjoying it where I'm up to so far. And my wife also picked it up and started reading it. She's a little behind where I am, but she's reading it also, and she is enjoying it.
How kind of you, man. Yeah, that's so awesome.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you. Where did you get it? Did you order it off Amazon?
I got it off Amazon. Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you.
Where is there anywhere people can get it directly from you or no?
For the first couple of years, I had it in some places, but it's just Amazon is where to get it. Right.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I got it.
Thank you so much. Can I ask what your records are back there?
On the wall?
Your CDs, yeah.
That one there. I'm trying to line this up like a weatherman. That one there is Disturbed.
Right on.
It's just autographed CD. This
I
one
saw
back here
I saw
is
something on Facebook today that they're in rehearsals again, I think, doing something. I saw.
Are they?
Yeah.
And this one back here is Night Songs, Cinderella.
Is it really?
Yeah, and it's just as you can see, I don't know if you can see it with the glare.
I can.
Looks like Eric. Is Eric playing with you still?
No, Eric. Eric signed it and everything.
Yeah, he signed it. I think Jeff signed it and Fred signed it. I don't remember why I didn't get Tom. But back in the day, I used to go to shows early and bring CDs and go out to the tour buses and do that whole thing. And
where did you see them on that tour?
St. Petersburg, Florida, at a place called Janice Landing.
Right on.
No, this was later after Night Songs.
Right.
But I just had the CD.
So Eric is not with us at the moment. He's a permanent member of the Bret Michaels Band, but he is on hiatus. A lot of things happened in Jeff dying. There's a lot of things that happened in his life, and Eric's 62 now, right? And he's doing some things in his personal life, and me and him have an acoustic gig called This, That, and the Other that we will continue to do when the time's right. We have a lot of fun with it. In fact, I believe that the next carnation of that is going to have Chad from Faster Pussycat playing with us.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We've all talked about it and agreed to do it. We're just looking for the right opportunity to do it.
Sure.
But Eric is one of my best friends, man. He is the sweetest, coolest, most knowledgeable guy in the world. He shares a lot of his conspiracy theories with me. We're very similar in a lot of stuff. But right now he's doing some things that he never got to do in his personal life.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, good for him then.
Yeah, that's cool that you have that though, man. What an incredible record Night Songs is.
One of my favorites. That was when did that come out? What was that, like 85 or
86?
Yeah.
They were on that Dave Lee Roth Eat 'Em and Smile tour, and they opened up for Bon Jovi on the Slippery When Wet tour. So I think it was 85, 86, right in that. Yeah.
That whole time, 84, 85, some of the best records came out then, I think.
Out
the Cellar, Shout at the Devil.
All that stuff. Yeah, absolutely. And the Cinderella record is such a so I'm not a real diehard metal guy. Right. And I'm not a super, I am a pop guy nowadays, but back then I wasn't a pop guy. But the Night Songs record was a perfect hard rock record. Wasn't too metal, but it wasn't wimpy in any way, shape, or form. It was like Def Leppard, but better to me. That's what Night Songs was,
No, Cinderella was a great band.
And Tom performed at M3 this weekend in Maryland, and my son went. I think Amy was there.
Yeah, she went. Mhm.
Everybody says that his voice was great and everything was great. So I'm happy to hear that, because that's a struggle to sing like that for 40 years.
That's amazing how we can still do that. And today with YouTube and everything else, it's scary because I mean, you see some of the videos that get posted from famous singers, and it's
Well, that's what years and years and years ago, when YouTube first happened, a handful of singers all of a sudden were standing still a lot, Sebastian Bach being one of them. And it was because watching themselves back and hearing what they sound like running around and realizing that the world's going to see this every night now. You can't, a lot of singers decided to exchange the stage presence for sounding good because of the fear of YouTube. Because Sebastian Bach used to be all over the stage, crazy nut. And then all of a sudden one day you see, he still is a little bit, but you see him standing completely still when he's singing the important stuff. John Bon Jovi is a prime example of that. I don't want to get into the way John sounds right now.
Yeah, no.
But prior to that, you can see about 15 years ago that he walks out on stage and stands completely still. And it's because the focus was on singing, because the world, you can't hide anymore.
No, you can't. Everyone's got a phone now. So
that's right.
The show is going to be posted that night, most likely.
There's some bands, and there's some bands, I think that Dave Grohl does it, but, oh man, Born to Lose It. Who's, Social Distortion, I think it is. There's a handful of bands that have a no phone policy. They make you put the phone away. You can't even bring it into the venue, which I think is amazing. I think it's, to be honest with you, I sometimes we're playing and I look down and I just think to these people, you're filming this whole show and you're not in the moment. This is about the moment you're supposed to be in. And
people miss it now.
You miss it. And you're like, well, I have the video. That video does not explain the experience you're supposed to be having in any way, shape, or form. I wish that would go away. And also, it's not fair to the people that buy those tickets and now someone's sitting at home on their couch for free watching it, Yeah. I have a lot of feelings about that stuff.
I'm guilty of it, though. I took my son, when he was 8, he's 10 now, a couple years ago, I think it was. I took him to his first concert, was Kiss.
Right.
So I did bring out my phone when Gene started doing the blood thing,
but you were capturing a moment. I'm talking about there's people in our front row that just film Bret for the full 90 minutes.
The whole time. That's got to drive them nuts.
Well, it's crazy, but you can't not go to. I went to Kiss. I took my kid and my girlfriend to Kiss right before COVID, and I have a phone full of pictures because you do have to get those memories. But it's not, you know what I'm saying? There's those people that are just, the whole time. It's crazy to me, man.
Yeah, I had to capture him too because he was so excited when they came out in the fire, and he had a blast.
And where did you see that at?
That we saw in Charleston.
Right on. Was that what the opening act was? An artist, right? Yep. Yeah. I thought that was cool. Painted Bruce Springsteen when I saw him or whatever.
I don't remember who he did when we saw him, but yeah, it was that guy.
But what a great show. Are you a Kiss fan?
I am a Kiss fan. I know you're a Kiss fan, right?
I have Ace Frehley's makeup on this arm, right? I don't know if you can see it the way I'm holding it, but there's Ace Frehley's makeup here, and I have the Van Halen tattoo here, so that every night on stage, the way I play it, holding the guitar, you see Ace and Eddie. That's kind of
those are you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. You talk about in your book, you mentioned that you wearing your Kiss shirts in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And that brought back a memory for me because I remember it was kindergarten or first grade or something like that. And Love Gun had tattoos with it. Yeah.
That's right.
And we had to wear our costumes for Halloween to school that time. And I had an Ace Frehley tattoo, his face on my hand right here.
Right.
And we had to move seats around and the teacher had to guess who was who. And I remember covering my hand because she knew I had that tattoo on my hand. But when you mentioned your Kiss t-shirts in kindergarten, I was like, yeah, I had my tattoo in kindergarten.
There's millions of us, I think, that are all the same in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Funny. It's funny with Kiss is, and you say Love Gun. A lot of people talk about Destroyer, but probably because of our age, Love Gun's where it started for me. That was I was young. I mean, we were kids. It's funny
Mhm.
that you were into it that young too. And how
Yeah.
were you into it that young?
Well, I don't remember. It was kindergarten or first grade. So however old you are at that
Yeah.
time, I had it.
Yeah.
And I had a
But
live too, because I remember
that's
Gene's
it.
picture on the back scared me a little bit.
Yeah. That's exactly it. I think back now though. And are you a musician? Sorry if
I play bass. Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, I see the bass right there. Spectre, right?
Spectre.
Awesome.
Yeah. Got one there and
Um,
one hanging up over here.
and so when I was that age, when Love Gun and Alive 2 came out, I learned every word into the solo records. Remember the solo records?
Mhm.
Paul Stanley had a song called Love and Chains off that record that I loved, and all the stuff. My fourth grade talent show, I played Rip It Out from Ace Frehley. But I look back now at being this 8, 10-year-old kid, and I would run around the house all day long singing these lyrics. Like, and my parents, it was okay. I don't understand. Like, I know they would have house guests sometimes, and I'd be running around the house yelling, Christine 16 and
Yeah.
Dr. Love and all this stuff. And I gotta wonder sometimes if my parents' friends thought, not that I was nuts, but that they were nuts for letting me get that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you had cool parents to let you do your thing.
I
mean,
did.
mine
very
were the
much.
same way, but
Yeah, right on.
now your mom, speaking of your parents, your mom was an Elvis fan.
Yeah.
Right. I know that. And
How do you know that, if you don't mind me asking? You've done some research.
you know what? I don't do a lot of research with the guests. I probably heard you say it at some point, but I usually don't do a lot of research just because I want it to be more of a organic
Sure.
conversation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so she's an Elvis fan. My stepdad is a cousin of Elvis.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So my mom used to go see Elvis before he was famous. And there's a huge picture or it's not huge, there's a famous picture of Elvis playing the Tupelo State Fair. Have you ever seen this picture?
I don't think so.
All right.
Look at, I'm sure it's out there online, right?
Oh, yeah. It's a real famous picture.
Okay.
It's a black and white picture, obviously. And it's in his real early years. And he's playing the Tupelo State Fair. My mom used to always tell me stories about being there, right? And this picture, I've seen this picture my whole life. But we played, Graceland opened up a concert venue on its grounds maybe 5 years ago. And we were the first act to perform there. I don't know the correlation, but we were the first band booked in there. And in their green room is this famous Tupelo picture, but it's a mural on the wall, right? And I'm walking by it, and I look, and there's my mother in the picture.
Wow.
And the drummer that was with me at the time and the bass player both knew my mother. She's been passed for quite a long time, but they knew her. And I said, "Am I crazy? But who do you think that is?" Both of them. "Oh, that's your mother. There's no way that's not your mother," right? And then I took a picture of it and sent it to some different members of my family. And again, my mom always told me she was there at that show. You know what I mean? So it's funny. It's funny that her face is in that picture. But yeah, she was a giant Elvis fan.
Did you notice her right away?
Oh, it was like someone told me to look at it. I was just walking, and it was like a message to find that. Yeah,
nice.
It's pretty cool.
Where is she in the location of the picture? I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna try and find it.
So Elvis is like right here, singing down to the audience that's over here, and she's about. If this is Elvis, she's about right here, maybe 6 rows back and 3 deep in the picture.
Okay. I'm gonna try and find it. I'll see if I can find it. And I don't know what your mom looks like, but
well, see if you can pick it out. She doesn't look like me, but we do have similar features where you might be able to pick it out. But.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Pete. You say how you love producing records and stuff, and you've worked with Shinedown, right, and Paramore,
right.
What did you do with them?
I did. So interestingly enough, I guess enough years have passed, and the industry is different now. I have to think if I'm really supposed to do this. I tune their vocals.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. they were live records. They were the live records. And the Shinedown record, it was something they'd recorded for MTV concerts back in the day, and he was sick. And he's a great vocalist. He's incredible,
fantastic.
vocalist, but he was sick. And I'd never worked directly with them. It was the other producers and mixers that called me in, because back in the day, it looked like that was going to be a skill set. Tuning vocals was something that you went to one particular person. There was a handful of us for a while that were getting called on to do that particular job.
Okay.
But as the software got better, it became easier for anyone to do it. And we all were obsolete real quick.
Sure.
You know, but the rumor has it that he basically begged those guys to re-record it or do it again, you know, and they just wouldn't. So I was handed those tracks to tune up his vocals. And then because of the job I did on that, I got the same gig doing the live Paramore record.
Okay. I'm sure that live records, that is almost necessary a lot of times, right?
Yeah, you have to. You have to. I was so a couple of years after that was when A Different Kind of Truth was being recorded, and John Shanks produced that Van Halen record. And John had been working with Miley Cyrus the same time that me and Bret were working with Miley on the song she sang with us, Nothing to Lose. And so I had contacted John and basically begged him to let me tune the Van Halen vocals. I was like, I'll do it for free. I'm such a Van Halen fanatic. I was like, don't lie to me. You know you're gonna have to tune Dave's vocals. We know it. And I begged him, and he wrote back, and he was just like, I have my own guy I gotta stay loyal to. I was like, man,
that would have been great.
It would just been cool to have been a part of that record. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. So here you find yourself in Bret's band. You've been in the band you're not a hired gun. You're in Bret's band. You've been there a long time.
19 years this week.
19 years.
Yeah.
Do you just pinch yourself sometime and you're like, how did I get here?
You know, the first year that I was in his band, up until then, every year he'd had a different band. So I thought when I got the gig that it was probably going to be 1 year. Right. And to be completely honest with you, that when we got off the road from that first year, I'm not going to say suicidal, but I got as low as I've ever been in my life, because I remember thinking, well, that's as big as it's ever going to get for me. I already went as far as, almost like my song Best Days, similar, you know what I'm saying? And I remember thinking, so there it is. I peaked. I went, and now I'm going to go home. And for some reason, I've been fortunate enough that me and him have been, I call him my best friend. He calls me his best friend. We call a few other people our best friends too, but he's a brother to me, man. And 19 years. And there are still moments where it's usually during every rose. Because that song was just, I mean, it's iconic. It's there's 20 songs from our growing up that define, if you say power ballad, Every Rose is one of them.
Right.
And not only is that, but Every Rose changed things. And I don't know if you'll remember this, but overnight, every band had a song that started in G and started in acoustic. And I Remember You and Heaven and all these different songs are almost the same tempos and the same, and I love all those songs. And those Warrant guys are some of my brothers and best friends in the world. I'm not taking anything away from those guys, but it changed it changed everything. After Every Rose, you had to have a power ballad on your record, and it had to happen. And so a lot of times when we get to Every Rose and I look out at all those people and I know what that song meant to them. And then I go, man, I can't believe this is, I was in the audience. I was in the audience at that Rat show that you were at. Right. I was at the audience at the Dave Lee Roth show, and I was at the audience during the Flesh and Blood tour, and a lot of times I joke because that movie Rockstar is a lot like my life. I was such a big fan. Yeah, I pinch myself. I pinch myself, but it's also been 19 years and it's been a lot of work, and we've been through a lot of things together, and
Sure.
I deserve it. I worked really, really hard, and I deserve that. I had plenty of opportunities in my life to do different things, and I never strayed from Evick. There was other national bands that I could have joined and done things with, and a lot of different career opportunities, but I stuck true because I don't fake it. The one thing you will find about me is I don't fake it. If I'm happy, if I'm sad, I just don't conceal it. And I was never going to join anyone else's band because I was the leader of my band and I was a music writer and all this stuff. But the Poison music was so important to me, and me and Bret got along so well that that here we are 19 years later.
You seem like a very emotional kind of guy.
Oh, it's nuts. It's nuts. Yeah.
Yeah. You cry at sad movies?
I don't know that I
did you cry at My Girl?
At what?
My Girl. You ever see that movie?
I did not. Did I?
You didn't see it? Oh yeah, don't watch it. You'll cry. It's bad.
I don't. But yeah, I'm super emotional.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've been tested about whether I'm bipolar or not, and I'm not. But but I'm very. If it's amazing that I'm not, because sometimes I feel like I am, and but I often say to people sometimes that because I'm a lot to deal with, man. I'm a lot to deal with when I'm super happy or super sad or super mad. And but when people are like, man, you're out of control with your emotions, to me, it's like everyone else lives in black and white and I live in Technicolor. Like basically I can get happier than you can get, not you, but
yeah, I know what you're saying.
And so and I can get madder than most people can get, and I can get sadder than most people get, but that's human. And so to me, that's a gift to feel that depth on all those levels.
Yeah, I think so.
But I'm emotional. I mean, I may not have cried at My Girl, but there's a lot of things, I was watching videos with my girlfriend last night about animals, the YouTube video. It was 40 animals that almost died and humans saving them. And I lost it.
Did you?
Yeah, I lost it. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that, bud.
Yeah, no, I wear it on my sleeve. There's been a handful of times over COVID, and I do this live stream thing every either Tuesday or Wednesday night. I do a live stream concert. I've done 103 of them now. Wow. And there's been a couple of times during COVID where I talk with my friends, family, and fans, and I break out crying, just talking about certain stories and stuff like that. I wear it on my sleeve. I don't care at all. Yeah.
Where do you do these live streams? Is it something people can go see, or is it?
Yeah. I do it on a platform called Stage It.
Okay. Oh yeah.
It's been around for a couple of years. I was doing it before COVID, actually. And then when COVID hit, I used to tell everyone, you got to do this thing called Stage It, these live stream shows, you got to do it. And no one wanted anything to do with it. And then like 2 weeks after COVID, everyone I knew was doing live stream concerts on Facebook. But the thing about Stage It, and I've remained true to Stage It and loyal to them, is it's a very unique experience with interactive chat room, a tip jar, a video screen, and it's all together. It's not like you're playing live on Facebook, and if you want someone to tip you, they got to do PayPal, right? And then you got to it's all very interactive, and it was built specifically as an online concert experience, and they've got it down, and it's perfect. And you have to give them a percentage, but I don't care because I'm not in it to make the money. Right. You know what I mean? A lot of people come to me and go, why don't you just do that live on Facebook and take the money from PayPal? The experience that I use on Stage It is super fan friendly, and it's a really cool thing. And I've been doing it for a long, long time. I enjoy it. And now it's just like a connection. There's probably 25 or 30 particular fans that have made at least 100 of the 103 shows. And now it's like family dinner. Yeah. Yeah. So it's cool. Like,
I'm gonna have to try and check one out. You do it almost every week, or?
Yeah, unless the road keeps me from doing it. I did it last night, and sometimes I have a guest. Sometimes I just sit in my living room and play the acoustic guitar and tell stories about the week and just sing songs. Half the time I don't know the songs. I just I'll take a request and I'll wing it. I'll fake it. It's just fun, but it's a very intimate thing.
And do you post on your social media when you're doing these, or how will someone know when it's happening?
I post on the Facebook every Monday or Tuesday what day it is, but it's always 9 p.m. Eastern. It's either Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely check that. Yeah, Stage It is it's very user friendly.
Yeah.
I've tipped an artist out on there before. I didn't watch the
Yeah.
show.
So you've seen it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can just go and tip. I couldn't watch the show, but I wanted to help him out and
Oh,
give him some money. And
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I've seen some artists on there. Like I said, not seen the show, but Bill Leverty was doing stuff on there at one
Yeah.
time.
Well, so Levity was a guest on my stage,
Oh, okay.
and he saw how it worked, and then he went and
Oh,
did a
okay.
couple. Bill's one of my good buddies too. What an amazing guitar player! Holy crap! And
Yeah. Bill's a great guy.
and then I persuaded the Joan Jett camp to do one.
Okay.
And then I think that I got into it from Jared from Bowling for Soup told me about it, and he does it a whole lot. And a buddy of mine, Chris, that sings in the band Spin Doctors,
Okay.
he was doing a lot of them during Stage It. There's a lot of people. Brett's done them. We've done 3 years. We've done Brett's birthday Stage It where we do it and raise money for charity, but we do it from his office or whatever.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk real quick, Pete, about, I know I'm keeping you up. It's getting late out there. It's late here.
I'm having a blast, man. I'll go until you tell me it's time to roll out.
Well, maybe we'll have to do another episode sometime, because I feel like I could keep talking to you, just chatting.
Yes, sir.
But I wanted to talk to you about your candle company that we talked a little bit about in the beginning. Shining Soul Candle Company
Yes,
is
sir.
called, right? And
Yes,
I've been
sir.
to your store in Myrtle Beach, but you have a couple of stores, I believe.
Yeah, we have a store in Manassas, Virginia, a store in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, and a store in Myrtle Beach.
Rehoboth Beach. I used to go there as a kid in the summer times.
Did you really?
Yeah, my grandmom had a little cottage up there on a bay. I don't remember the name of the bay, but
Actually, and it's just called Delaware Bay, I think.
possibly we would drive to is Ocean City, Maryland by there?
Yep. They're like 15 miles apart.
That's where I would go and get all my rock magazines when I was a kid.
Oh, right on.
At the newsstands and the magazine shops. But anyway,
go ahead.
No, go ahead. You spent time there?
Oh, just when you said Ocean City, I spent an enormous amount of my life before I was in Bret's band, being a cover band, playing on that boardwalk in Ocean City, Maryland.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't been back in forever, but I don't know what it's like now. But it was a fun time back then.
Right on.
But your candle company, it's very interesting. You went into candles, because a lot of musicians will go into the hot sauces or
right.
coffee.
Michael Anthony. Yeah.
Michael Anthony. Coffee is popular. Rachel just came out some soap not long ago.
Yeah.
But you're doing candles.
Right. So have you ever, the term, like if someone has to go to the insane asylum, and there's always that phrase, I was making macaroni necklaces. Have you ever heard of that? Like when you go nuts, you're making macaroni necklaces.
I have not heard of that.
Yeah, there's an old phrase about, you're in, you went crazy and now you're sitting there making macaroni necklaces, whatever. Anyway, my point to that is the candles were my macaroni necklace. We had just got done filming the 3rd season of Rock of Love. And that season was on the buses with us. So those cameras were on us 24/7 for 9 months. And I wasn't really into being on TV, and I had a lot of cool parts in that show. It was like I certainly got to be on a lot of episodes and have some moments, but we weren't the stars of the show. The girls and Bret were the star, and we were just people that were around, but they were still on us all the time. Like you walk into the bathroom and they follow you into the bathroom, and you go to bed at night and they're waiting at the door when you get up in the morning. And it made me crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if I could handle that.
And my marriage was breaking up at that time. And I got off the road from being out there for 9 months. And I came home to an empty house. And for the first time in my entire life, I didn't want to play the guitar. I was burnt. And I was sitting there real late at night one night, and I had a candle that was supposed to smell like a wood burning fireplace. And I lit it, and I started thinking to myself, I've been playing guitar since I was 5 years old. I don't play any sports. I don't have any hobbies. The only other thing I have any interest in at all is Star Wars. And I don't, I just never done anything, and I don't want to play the guitar anymore. And I realized this candle didn't smell the way I wanted it to smell. So in the middle of the night, I just started thinking, I wonder if I can do that. I wonder if I can make a candle. And I just went nuts. I went to the hobby store the next day. I don't think I'd showered in like 3 days. I came home from the road and I was just decompressing. And I walked in this hobby shop and there was all these mothers that were buying their kids crafts for their art projects. And you could just see them part like I was this monster walking through there, you know. And I remember being real exhausted and really tired, and as grimy looking as you could possibly be. And someone goes, "Can I help you?" I said, "Do you have a candle making section?" And they pointed me to it, and I went home and I just went nuts trying to learn how to do it. And then as I learned how to do it, I started learning, you know, we use soy wax, and soy wax is eco-friendly, but it also is made in America. And I'm so connected to, from touring in the Midwest, I'm so connected to the farmers and their struggle.
Sure.
I've been watching Farm Aid since I was a kid. I'm a giant John Cougar Mellencamp fan. I've always been very aware of the hardship of being an American farmer. So I started thinking, man, if I sell some candles, I'm helping some of my buddies, because I become friends with all these guys. They come to our shows. You know, I said, maybe I can just, you know, once again, help something. And so I also wanted to teach my kids about entrepreneurism, because my kids at that time, it was very clear to them, very clear to me, they were like me, and they weren't going to pursue a college lifestyle or some kind of normal careers. It's just not. So I started an online business to try to teach them entrepreneurial business, and the soy wax and everything was helping American farmers. And I was just proud of it. It was just a little thing. It was just for fun. And then it turned into what it is. It became, you know, we have the 3 stores. We have a manufacturing warehouse. Me and my business partner have a team of about 30 employees, and across everywhere. And it became something.
That's amazing. That's amazing. The candles, you know, I'm not really a candle guy, but we got some candles, you know, like I said, we were at your store, we wanted to buy some, kids picked them out, and I got them home, lit them, and I enjoyed them because they're not too strong for one.
Right.
It's just right, you know?
Right.
And that's awesome. So that's why we're going back to get more.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people with the thing about candles being too strong. The interesting thing is, and a lot of people talk about getting headaches and stuff like that from, and they think it's the fragrance a lot, but a lot of times the stuff that people are actually, the sense of strength or overpowering is the actual paraffin wax, and the chemicals in the paraffin wax is also what gives you the headaches. So when people use our candles and they'll say some of the very things you just said, a lot of that's linked to the soy wax, and it being all natural gives you a much more, a less overbearing experience overall.
That's awesome. Now, how do you come up with the scents do you have like chemists, or do you do it, or how do you, if you say, I want a candle to smell like this, how do you get it to smell like that?
So you come up with the idea, and there's always your basics, right? So there's your cinnamons and your vanillas, and you always start with that, right? And you can buy that from manufacturers that make fragrance houses. But as you get to the level where we're at, where we're coming up with different stuff, you develop relationships with these fragrance houses. And a lot of times I'll have an idea, or my partner will have an idea. And so you call and you'll say, we're looking for something beachy yet floral, not too overpowering. You give as much of a description of what you're looking for as you can, and then their chemist will make 10 or 12 samples and send them to you, and then you just go through the process, and then you'll go, you know, out of the 10 or 12, you may go, this is the closest to what I'm looking for, and then they go through round 2. But no, I'm not the chemist at all.
So you're mixing things all together on there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, awesome, man. So your singles, that's what we started with. They are available now. 99 Red Balloons is only on YouTube, correct?
Only on YouTube. I have no interest in making a dime off the song. It was specifically to show some awareness to people and spread a message. I made the video showing all the bombs and the destruction in the background because there's a lot of people that, especially during COVID, got tired of watching the news. I know a ton of people that are like, I don't watch news anymore. I can't handle it. I can't take it. And I respect that, but I don't believe in that. You got to know what's going on in the world.
Sure.
But so there's a whole lot of people that I talk to and they're like, oh, I don't really know what's happening. And I just kind of thought, let me show these images in my video and maybe they'll see it that way, you know? So the song is solely about trying to raise some kind of awareness, and maybe people will find there's so many ways to dedicate or I said the word dedicate, no, I'm looking for donate.
Donate.
There's all these different avenues. My song's not tied to one particular. It's I'm just hoping people will find it and in their heart find some place to donate or help the Ukraine. So there's no monetary value to the song anyway, so it's only on YouTube to be streamed. And the other song is available everywhere.
Yeah, My Best Days is
My Best Days is everywhere.
Then they can search on Amazon or Spotify. Just search Evick, right?
Yep, just like Evick or My Best Days, and it'll show up.
Okay. You gonna do any more songs with Evick right now?
Oh yeah. I hadn't written a song with Evick in over a decade. My writing style and everything had changed because I'd written all these records with Bret and everything was different. And but over COVID, I really got back to who I was and being able to write like that. I have 4 or 5 other tracks that I'm working on right now that are in that same vein. And they're not going to sound that much like Bon Jovi, I hope, but they're in that same style that I've always written in.
Yeah. All right, man. All right. So Shining Soul, what's your website? shiningsoul.com or what is it?
SOL, shiningsoulsol.com.
Okay. So people can get your candles there. Music's out there. Listen, man, I had a great time.
I hope so, buddy. By the way, I just want to say before we roll, I don't know. I can't see exactly where everything is, but the color on your arm is amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I got this done when I lived in California by, his name was Greg James. He actually did a lot of the Motley Crue tattoos, Johnny Depp's tattoos. A lot of the musicians, Guns N' Roses. He's been on the Sunset Strip, since back in those days.
And how can I ask, how long have you had that?
About 10 years now.
And that color is still that vibrant?
Yeah.
Or is it your camera? Is it really like that? Is it?
Yeah. I mean, I get compliments.
Really purple?
Over here in Myrtle Beach, I get compliments all the time. And some people have said to me, multiple people have said, you're not from around here, are you? And I'm like, no, why do you say that? And they say, because you can't get work like that done around here.
I don't know. I mean, that's amazing. Can you tell, I know you want to roll and we're over.
No, we're good.
Tell me a little bit of what do you got there?
Well,
I don't mean to switch the interview to you, but
no worries. It's a Oriental, just a traditional Oriental work. Got a samurai here. I don't know if you can, it's hard.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, there's a samurai guy here. A lot of this stuff is for this is my son's sign. Where are we at? Okay. I'm all backwards. I'd never be a weatherman. Right there.
Yeah, right.
This is my Chinese zodiac here. A lot of it's for my kids. The wife and I got married in Vegas, so I got some aces up here.
That's cool.
Yeah, Scorpio.
What are the music notes?
That's just no song, just a bass clef there. Gotcha. Like my bass,
Looks great, man.
All stuff related to me. I didn't want to just get some random tattoos. So
yeah, it looks great. I've been watching it the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Right.
But all right, Pete. Well, listen, hang out. Don't just for a second. But again, thanks.
Thank you so much, man. What an honor. I'd love to, anytime you want to talk again, I'll jump on it anytime, man.
You got it, buddy.